In war, in baseball, yes, baseball, and in politics, timing is everything. Everything. You don't want to peak too soon. You don't want to charge the battlefield when no one's there, of course. You don't want to peak too late. You don't want to commit your forces when the battle's already over. It's already lost. And now you're rolling into the battlefield. You're swinging after the ball has crossed the plate. No. Timing is everything. Especially in today's politics. Same thing applies. Don't want to peak too soon. Don't want to peak too late. You want to use your forces in a timely fashion. That's what we're going to do with this video. Are you with me? I hope so. Because this is Gun Control Slapdown 2018. TMP. Timed, I think, right on the money. I've been watching the political scene for the last couple of years in regards to gun control. You haven't seen many videos come out, have you? Because the time wasn't right. I was waiting. I was waiting for certain things to go. Check mark, check mark, check mark. Momentum from the left. Now's the time. And here we go. I'm making a video, probably, not for sure, but probably posting on the A channel. Gun Control Slapdown 2018. It will be a rant. It will be perhaps controversial. I'm just giving you a heads up, bro. So if you don't like that, I'll give you a couple seconds to decide whether you want to watch the video or not. Cool, you're still here. Let's go. Well, some people, gun owners, don't like controversy. They think they can be gun owners and not delve into controversy, and it is impossible. Owning a gun is a political process. It is. I don't care where you find yourself on the political spectrum. By you choosing to own a firearm of whatever type, you have elected to become political. You have elected to be part of a political discussion. Actually, these days, an enraged political argument. Not from us. It's not coming from us, but it's that way from the other side. So that's a choice you made when you went to the gun counter, when you bought it from, I don't know, another individual. You inherited it from a family member. If you don't want to be political in regards to guns, you might want to get rid of them all. Says me. And I've always said that. People sometimes don't get it. They think they can own an AR-15, a black rifle, a Glock, a SIG, a concealed carry pistol. Maybe it's just a revolver, a J-frame, Smith & Wesson. It's just a J-frame. Still a gun. It's still political. So you can either choose to be part of the process to defend our rights or sell it. Be principled and don't be part of the fight. That's okay. That's the way you choose to live your life. I don't fault anybody for that. But if you're a gun owner, and I suspect you are, you're part of this process. And timing is important. So again, I've watched the political foray go on, the political fight. And I was watching it for the last couple of weeks. This ticks off, that ticks off, this ticks off. I see momentum building. I see it momentum building. I see the troops amassing over in that battlefield over there. Now it's time to rally our troops. Our troops. I can't speak for other entities. I can speak for TMP Nation, and I need your help now. This is a call to action. In the description below, you will see some sort of letter I've written to be sent immediately to President Trump. Immediately. Be respectful. Be nice, be professional, sign your full name, your full address, do everything in handwriting. Well, you can type the letter out. I don't say that has to be handwritten. Make it legible. One page only. Make it brief, to the point. I'll try to do the same. Sign your name to it. Send it via USPS, Postal Service, with a stamp. And then fax it, the same letter, and then email it. You're going to send it to President Trump. You may send it more than once, by the way. You may send it now, and a month later you send the same letter. That's approved. You're going to send it to your representatives. Hey, but they're Democrats. Don't care. Send it anyhow. And to your senators. They're Democrats. Don't care. Send it anyhow. It's time to rally the troops. It's time to mobilize our forces, and we are heavily, heavily outnumbered. Do you feel it? If you are paying attention to what is happening on the political scene after the Florida shooting, you should see it happening. There is movement. There's movement. Hey, it shouldn't happen with a political, a Republican-held House and Senate and presidency. Concur. But dude, you need to wake up to reality. of the political pressures in this country after almost a decade of Obama. And that's where we are now. We are not after Sandy Hook. It's a different political environment, and I thought it was bad then. I called it mob rules. After Sandy Hook and what they were talking about, universal gun control, or universal gun registration, after Sandy Hook, and we all mobilized then, had a lot of participation initially then, along with some other entities like the NRA, the GOA, we were able to push it back. Grassroots. That's what we're doing. Grassroots. Grassroots is you and me. It's you and me. It's us pushing back against this onslaught of, I'll call it progressivism. No apologies. It really is. Because it says you shouldn't have guns. You know, civilians shouldn't have guns. That is part of the progressive philosophy. We're going to a better place. We're going to a utopian type existence. You shouldn't have to fear the government. The government is all powerful. They'll take care of you. They'll tell you what to think, where to go, how to dress, what to eat, where to go, how to travel. We'll make everybody equal. You don't need guns in that process, in a utopian vision, in a progressive vision. You don't. I do not apologize for that. If it's controversial, oh well. That's where we are. And the stage was set when Obama was elected. He said he would fundamentally change in America, and guess what? He did. He changed more than anything the thinking in America. From strong American individualism, which Rush Limbaugh talks about all the time, to something else. To actually, you are dependent on the government. You are a ward of the state. You need to apologize for being an American. Dividing, all Americans according to race, creed, color. That all happened under Obama. And it is in spades now. It's bad. Instead of unifying all of us together as an American people, regardless of color, regardless of race, regardless of where we came from, we are first and foremost Americans. That's gone. There are big divisions in this country, and I will contend, and I did in the videos leading up to his election and then re-election, it started with that. It is not debatable in my mind. You'll never change my mind, so if you are going to start ranting, I'll never see the comment anyhow. Save your breath, bro. Speaking of which, when we rally the troops, this is very, very important. Please listen. Don't rail on other 2A people. It is idiotic. If someone is a gun owner, he may or may not have some different perceptions as you. That's okay. He may or may not believe exactly like you do. So what? It doesn't matter. Don't waste time going in some rant and spending all this energy and hatred and discord and friction with another individual that believes like you do, more or less, in the important things. Save it for the battle. Save it for those letters. Save it for perhaps rallies. Save it for the long haul. If I see it in the comments, Doodle sees it, if any of the staff here in TMP, that is TMPers, which are able to delete comments and block people, if they see it, they may nuke you, and they are free to do so. It's okay to express differences of opinion. I'm not saying that at all. But don't soapbox and start railing on another gun owner. I don't care what it's about. Save it for the battle, dude. It's like guys in an LVT, like a landing craft going to Iwo Jima, and they're having a fist fight before the door opens and they storm the sands of Iwo Jima. Would that make sense? Hey man, you took my deck of cards, and they start getting into fisticuffs. They're 500 yards from the beach and they're taking fire from the enemy, and they're sitting there fist fighting on the LVT. Would that make sense? And yet we see it in YouTube all the time. We see it in forums all the time. Stay unified or we are done. As gun owners, stay unified. Again, variances of opinion, whatever. They are small potatoes to what is coming to you very soon. I've said forever in these videos, the CTA videos, the political videos dating all the way back to, again, '08. I said, hey, it's not a matter of if broad sweeping gun control passes. It is a matter of when. It will pass in America. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. When you see what the media does day in and day out, the propaganda that is spread across the nation decade after decade, dude, it's coming. Well, all we're trying to do is run around the dam, plug in the holes. The dam is a constitution, by the way. The dam is there. It's still functioning. It's holding back this wall of water, this flood of, how shall I say, destruction on our personal liberties. There you go. The Constitution does that. All the Constitution does is acknowledge natural rights. God-given rights. Doesn't give them, doesn't bestow them. The government doesn't bestow them. It just says, hey, we're going to acknowledge these exist and they come from God. That's the Constitution. It was made by wise, inspired individuals, our forefathers. That's what you hang your hat on. That's why you were able to have guns. That's why you're able to own AR-15s, your Glocks, your magazines, your ammo cache, whatever. It's by the Constitution of the United States of America, put into place by our forefathers. That's how I feel. No apologies. That's how it is. It has some holes. It's leaking. The left wants to tear it down almost completely and build it up the way they envision it. I guarantee you, the Second Amendment would not be a part of their rebuild. That civilians are able to own guns? Are you insane? That's not part of their progressive utopia. No way, dude. You don't need guns. We're from the government. We're here to help you. So says them. Yeah, the dam has some holes, and I'm doing my best to plug them. I'm sure you are too. We're going to do it with this letter writing campaign. So if you need to pause the video right now, get to it. We're going to send the letter to President Trump. We're going to send it to the congressman. And again, you may send it every 30 days. Some changes here and there to reflect what's actually in it. Things are going to change fast. They're moving fast, such as the news cycle of today. Nothing lasts, it seems like, more than 24 hours. I mean, an HR may be proposed. Heck, a week later it's changed and there's a different one in its place. Now they're proposing to ban this or that and this type of gun, this type of feature. It's broad sweeping. What we need to do and what we're going to do with this letter writing campaign is to let President Trump, more than anyone, know that, listen, do not cave on the gun issue. If anything, we need to have a repeal on gun laws. Pass national reciprocity. By the way, I'll tell you right now, that's going to be dead in the water. It's going nowhere. I'm just using my common sense. I mean, in the political climate now, what do you think the media is going to do if all of a sudden they start pushing this and voting for it in Congress? That's right. They just passed a bill to advocate more murder in the streets of America. Something like that. The propaganda. That's what we've been hearing ever since the Florida shooting. We heard it after the Mandalay Bay shooting. We heard it after the Texas shooting. This isn't new. Again, going back to 2008 and well before I was even around, in YouTube at least. These arguments were always being thrown out there. They'll throw whatever they can against the wall, see what sticks, and they'll run with it. Their ultimate aim, their ultimate goal is to get guns out of the hands of civilians. All guns, especially black guns. Especially semi-automatic rifles. Especially semi-automatic pistols. They hate those. And they will spin it to win it. That's what they'll do. Spin it to win it. I don't even watch the mainstream media, the lame stream media, the legacy media. I don't watch them. I can't stand it. It's not news. It's propaganda. And that isn't some extremist viewpoint. It's fact. They don't represent all sides of the issue, and just like they used to do in the 60s here in the United States of America. They used to. They'd say, hey, we're going to report on the facts. That's what this side's saying. This side's saying this. You decide. No. There's opinion. There's inflammatory language. How they word things is transmitting opinion. Yeah, and you name it. ABC, NBC, CNN for sure, CBS. I've seen all types of anti-gun pieces come across the Fox News desk. I think Shepard Smith was just saying some a couple weeks ago. He said something along the lines of, yeah, we really need to get rid of those AR-15s or black guns. Something like that. Fox. I don't watch it. I don't. I seek alternative news sources. Objective sources. And then I'll make up my own opinion. But here we are. And it is serious what we're facing. Right now, this is all subject to change, and when I make a video like this, a week later it could be completely different. But right now, President Trump is saying, hey, I might be in support of universal background checks. I think I will support the banning of bump stocks and other accessories. Triggers, pistol grips, who knows? Broad sweeping. Do you think the average American really knows the differences, really cares about those differences? No, absolutely not. They don't care. What do they hear day in, day out? Are they still tuned into these news sources? Yes. Are a lot of people listening to alternative news sources? Yes. But I think they're in the minority. And so they hear this anti-NRA, anti-gun, anti-self-defense propaganda day in, day out. Not just from news, but from television shows, sitcoms, all the comedy shows, the late night comedy shows. I don't watch those either. Yeah, ever since the election last year, I quit watching all the comedy shows when I heard all the Trump hate and all the hatred and rage nonstop. I mean, it just wears me out. And it's not that I can't take comedy that's against my political viewpoint. I have forever. I mean, SNL, I used to be a big SNL fan. They are always railing on conservatives. I'd sit there, roll with it, laugh about it. But it's gone over the top now. Now it's with purpose. It's mean, it's biting, it's designed to affect political change, along with the late night comedy shows. It's not commentary, it is politically purposed. We want to achieve an end, and that end is impeaching Trump, getting him out of office, putting in the Democratic president, whoever it is, and getting this country back on track to progressivism. That's the message. It's undeniable. We have derailed. We're going back to a more traditional, more conservative, more Christian approach. That's not approved, says them. We need to get back to where we were going, to socialism, towards communism. That over there is perfect. That's utopia. That's where we need to go. This Trump guy, he's heading us back to where we used to be, you know. So let's call him this name, that name, and we'll do whatever we can to derail him and impeach him. They've thrown everything against him. The Russian investigation, gone nowhere. Hacking, gone nowhere. You know, I'll talk more about Trump. And I myself, I said it in 2A reality check, I'm glad he's in there. Anybody who says otherwise is, again, in a fantasy world. They're on a different planet. If you say, oh man, I wish another president, I wish Hillary was in instead of Trump. Are you kidding me, bro? This would be a completely different discussion. We would have already had passed universal background checks. Oh, dude, along with who knows what else. Mandatory registration, later confiscation, fast tracked. Trump has at least slowed it down. And that's an important concept. You may not get the world, but you want to at least slow down the deluge. So if the dam has leaks in it, are we going to say, hey, that dam's leaking, let's just go ahead and tear the whole thing down? Okay, so you tear the whole dam down. Now the flood has no stoppage at all, and it just comes down and washes out the town below with no impedance whatsoever. Is that the best course of action? There's some in the gun community that thinks that it is. Hey, if it isn't perfect, let's tear it down. Let's not use that at all. Anything that's slowing the passage of anti-self-defense bills, which I've always called them, anti-gun bills, we should be in favor of. We should support it. If it's imperfect, it's imperfect. Let's work to improve it. But we don't break the dam down. I mean, damn. Don't break the dam down. Try to plug the holes. Don't break it down, because it's really, really hard putting a dam back in position once that water really starts flowing. Pretty much impossible. Talk to a civil engineer. He'll tell you all about it. Write them letters. Have you written it yet? Just cut and paste. Change it as you see fit. Write your name. So you have probably 5 letters. They're basically saying the same thing. And you can use my text again. Whatever you want. But you need to write. Now's the time to rally the troops politically. Timing's everything. Timing's everything. Because in these offices of all these politicians, whether they're Republican, I think Democrats are actually a lost cause. I really do. Across the board, they're like, hey, whatever gun control law comes across my desk or it comes up for vote, if it's about disarmament or making it more of a hassle for people to own guns, I'm just going to vote for it. I think that's what most Democrats are going to do. Republicans are kind of all across the spectrum. Some are really staunch pro-Second Amendment folks, and a lot of them are middle of the road. They can be swayed. They can be swayed for a no vote. They can be swayed for a yes vote. That's where you come in. That's where you say, basically, hey, you vote for this, I'm going to make sure you don't get reelected. Thankfully, there is a big core section in the United States of America that are gun owners. They are somewhat silent. I wish they weren't. A lot of them don't belong to GOA, don't belong to NRA. I wish they would, but they don't want their guns taken away. I did say that in Second Amendment Reality Check with Jardine. I brought that up. I was like, hey, on the good side, you know, a decade of doing YouTube with the gun tubers, the blogs, there is a burgeoning gun owning populace coming up. A lot of them are young people that didn't know about it before. Maybe they learned about guns and video games and they started clicking around YouTube, they found Nutnfancy project, I reviewed some guns. They became of the age where they could legally buy them. They bought them, and now, lo and behold, they are an AR-15 owner. Welcome to the club, bro. So glad to have you. You are the future of America, by the way. You young people. Not me. Heck, I'll be gone in, I don't know, 10, 20 years. Who knows? It's you. It's you that'll carry the banner of the Second Amendment to the Constitution. That'll keep plugging the holes, rebuilding the Constitution. It's your job. Thank you for watching this video. It's part of the process. But on the good side, we have, I don't know, millions of these people that just came into the fold within the last 10 years. They are the hope that we carry to turn the tide on these. Because these young folks, they're well-spoken, they're intelligent, they don't mind being politically active, they are passionate about what they believe, and they're not going to have anybody roll into them and say, listen, you can't own an AR-15 anymore, we're going to take it away from you. They're not going to put up with it. They won't. And I'm just talking from what they've told me. They're like, hey, dude, I don't care what passes. Don't take away my black guns. It ain't going to happen. A lot of them are aware of what's happened in history. In the past, they're like, yeah, I'm politically aware. I know what happens when you disarm a populace, and I ain't going to put up with it. That's why the forefathers, what do you know, made the dam, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, acknowledging and preserving and hopefully protecting natural rights. So good on them. That's good. We have these people coming up. And a lot of them are watching the videos. You'll see their commentary. They're young folks. Some are like, I don't know, 18, 25 years old. They are the future. They are the banner holders. They're going to be the future speechwriters, the future politicians, the future office holders, the future strong citizens that won't put up with this crap. The militia. I'm all for it. It's awesome. Political process. That's what I'm talking about. And it is time to rally the troops. By the way, my finger is still sprained, yo. Yes, still. I just started splinting it. It happened in October. Tactical shotgunning, I showed you in video and in the reviews. It's not good. I don't think it's broken. Well, crying out loud, Nutnfancy, go to a doctor and get it looked at. Yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy. I got a popsicle stick on it right now. I think it'll heal. Wish me luck. Alright, how long have I been talking? Awesome. Probably feature length, dude. So share this video, subscribe to the A channel, the B channel, thumbs up, join Patreon, TMP Patreon, because I guarantee I won't get any revenue off this video at all to pay the bills here in TMP. Well, so if you feel inclined, do it to it. Hey, I got a really cool email from Gun Owners of America, of which I am a life member. Thank you very much. Patreon member of the NRA. Patreon, that's so funny. I think GOA is awesome. What I've always said about GOA is they just don't have the membership. They don't have the clout of the NRA. It's not even close. You know this because you watch these lamestream media, the Communist News Network, for instance, and they will talk about, not GOA, but NRA. So when your enemies start talking about you and say, oh, you know, like the Florida shooting, they go, oh, the NRA is responsible. There's that propaganda again. Responsible for that shooting. They don't say GOA. Why? Because the GOA has gotten a political power. I wish they would. I want you to join the GOA right now. Life membership, not monthly or yearly, but if you can't, do yearly. Both these organizations need to be strengthened. No compromise, strengthening. I'm all for that. We need to plug the holes in the dam. Don't get rid of the dam. It's not smart. This is what they said, though, and I'll try to run through it real quick. These anti-gun activists are currently trying to convince the president he should support these disastrous gun control efforts. And sadly, it may be working. The president, who just came in support of banning bump stocks, is now in talks with the supporters of the anti-gun National Instant Check System bill. That to me smacks of universal gun registration, which is bad. So that's going to come first, and then banning will come later. So they're going to make it mandatory that you register all your guns. If you don't do it and they catch you with it later, it's going to be a felony. Says me. That's what's going to happen. That's being discussed right now. I've always said that's coming. This ban on bump stocks could be so broad that it will also cover standard capacity magazines. Good job, GOA. They are standard. A 30-round magazine is not a high cap. It's standard. I've said that forever in TMP, and finally caught on in the lingo in the industry. Awesome. And semi-automatics with pistol grips. So anything with a pistol grip, certain features, ooh, it's evil. We got to ban those features. Worthless. But that'll be the first step. They're not going to launch right into disarmament. They can't. But they're going to do it incrementally. So let's say all this stuff passed. That they do universal background checks. And now you better register all your guns, or else it's going to be this law, this punishment, that punishment. You know, maybe get a 20% compliance rate. Then they go, there's another school shooting or another mass shooting. They go, oh, we haven't gone far enough. That's what's going to happen. And they're going to continue to say we haven't gone far enough. That is the modus operandi of the left, of the socialist, of the communist movement. We haven't gone far enough. If we could just implement full government, total control, then we would succeed. They always say that. They never go back and go, oh, we were wrong about that. We were wrong about the whole disarmament thing. Crime has gone up. Violent crime has gone up. They don't say that. They never go back because their ultimate aim is progressive utopia. And you watching this video don't have a gun in that utopian vision. So we're coming after it. Coming after you. You're part of the problem. Hey, I didn't shoot anybody. I'm a family man. I have daughters. I have some kids. I have a job. I pay taxes. I'm a good person. You are. But not in their mind. Because you own black rifles and that makes you evil. So says CNN. So says Headline News. So says CBS. So says any number of websites. So says a lot of entities. Pretty much everyone. Well, not everyone. There's a couple voices pushing back. The conservative talk radio hosts, bless their hearts, they're pushing back. Some gun tubers, we're pushing back. But, dude, we're outnumbered. Hugely outnumbered. But they will paint you as a villain. They did it after Mandalay Bay. They did it after the Texas shooting. They did it after Florida. It's nothing new. It's old hat. It's old hat. Very predictable. I did a video in 2009. It was called Gun-Free Death Pay. Gun-Free Death Pay. You should watch that video. Pretty funny. Nothing much has changed. I talk about, in that video, how gun-free zones will lead to more deaths. Oh, what do you know? Here we have the Florida incident where, sure enough, it's a gun-free zone. I'm sure there's nice, cute, pretty little signs all over that school saying, do not come in here with a gun. And lo and behold, what was it? 17 people got killed. Gun-free death pay. So you have a gun-free zone. That's where the wolves will show up. They know that with high probability they won't have rounds returned on them. And lo and behold, they start doing their business. They're sick individuals. Maybe they're not. Does it really matter? You know, if we could intercept these individuals early, as they attempted to do with the Florida shooter with Cruz, awesome. Apparently, the FBI didn't want to help. They didn't want to intervene. They didn't do their job, even though we had some citizens that saw what was going on, and they raised an alarm. Said, hey, man, this guy, he's not good. You need to kind of get him before he does something evil. FBI goes, whatever, we're good. I guess they're too busy investigating the Trump Russian prostitute theory from the dossier. Yeah, that's probably what they were busy doing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, back to the letter. Help us stand up for the Second Amendment. Call the White House at 202-456-1111 and tell President Trump that he is to oppose the expansion of federal background checks and oppose the ban on bump stocks. If that number is busy, then call 202-458-1414. Those numbers will be below, by the way. So we're writing and we're calling and we're faxing and we're emailing. That's called rallying the troops. I call it call to action. The Safe Students Act, H.R. 34, would repeal gun-free school zones across the country. Ta-da! There's a solution. Allowing security guards, administrators, teachers, and parents to be armed and protect their students. So we have guns protecting celebrities. We have guns protecting the president. We have guns protecting politicians, stores, police officers. But we can't have guns protecting our children in school. No, what's going to protect our children in school is a sign that says, no guns. Yeah, that's working great, isn't it? Columbine. But again, this is what I said earlier. They don't go back and go, wait, this isn't working. Our strategy to prevent deaths is not working. We need to maybe put more guns in schools in the hands of trained, good people. Certain rules in place. triggers for personal responsibility. If you screw up, you're personally responsible. You'll be held accountable for your actions. That's okay. I think most people would be okay with that. No, they won't do that. Why is that? They say they care about lives. They say they don't want little kids to be killed. But is that really the truth? Or are they after a bigger agenda? Yes, they're after the bigger agenda, and that is disarmament. And they're using this as a springboard to get there. Again, what they'll say, the marching orders is, we haven't gone far enough. So now we need to go door to door and take all the guns. All the guns. So continue with the GOA email burst. 98% of public mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. Boom. True. Hey, you can't have a gun in this theater. Aurora, Colorado. Oh, that's a good place for me to go do a mass shooting. Batman killer. Psycho. These killers target locations where guns are not allowed because they feel safe. That's right. They feel like there's no rounds putting on them. I've said that about 1,000 times in these videos. Precious lives are lost because of the time it takes to stop these killers. Good on police. Good on active shooter responses. They're pretty good. In Vegas, it was pretty good. I think it would have been better in Vegas had a concealed carry permit holder engage that guy. Hey, he could have made a difference. Oh yeah, he could have. Changes the whole dynamic. If you're getting rounds thrown at you, it's a completely different ball game. It is. You don't shoot with impunity. Instead, you go to your threat, the dude putting rounds on you, and try to eliminate him. You're not shooting individuals, innocent people. You're engaging with another dude with a gun. I was amazed after I posted the Aurora, Colorado shooting response. There were some gun owners said, oh yeah, dude, gun would have made any difference in that situation. If anything, you would have shot more people. Here we go again. No, guns increase public safety. It gives options. Yeah, but the guy would have gotten shot. He would have gotten killed. So what? I don't take that lightly. I'm not saying so what. It's bad. But at least he would have saved lives. And there are examples of that happening. When a concealed carry permit holder engages bad guy, save lives, and guess what? You never hear about it on the mainstream media. You won't hear about it. Why? Because it doesn't fit in the narrative to disarm you. That's why. Again, they're not about saving lives. They're about disarming America for utopia. It's not really debatable. If they were for saving lives, they would look at whatever measure works, wouldn't they? In this case, arming schools, arming school administrators. We've done it in Utah. Utah's done it. Teachers can carry a gun. I don't see any mass shootings happen in Utah. Not to say they couldn't, but hopefully a teacher has a gun. Hopefully. I know a substitute teacher, he's always packing a Glock. Always. High school, junior high, he's always having a gun. Is it a perfect solution? I don't think anything's perfect. I don't think anything's 100%. It might not even rise to the level of 50% of a solution, but it's a lot better than where we are now, which is just signs. More laws, which, by the way, were broken by the shooter in Florida to the nth degree. Oh, but those laws didn't work. Okay, we're going to pass more stringent laws. Okay, good luck. This country is broken in the American family. If you want to, and I tweeted this, if you want to stop these shootings, you need to fix the traditional American family. That's what I'm saying. You need to teach morals in the family. You need to teach love of your fellow man. Empathy in the family. Try to keep the mom together, the dad together. Have responsibility taught to the children. Have accountability taught to the children. Empathy modeled by the parents. And you will find these shootings will stop. But we don't have a lot of that in this country. And again, if we go to the left, sorry, here comes a rant. Actually, not sorry. They don't like the family. They're all for the breakup of the family, and those who espouse a traditional family are old-fashioned. They're bigoted. How dare you espouse a traditional family? It's worked in the past. It's prevented where we are now. It's pretty good. And there's all types of different families. I'm all for that. If it's a grandma, an aunt, whoever, but as long as they're together and that child feels love. That child feels, That child feels acceptance. That child has accountability for his or her actions from a parental figure, whoever it is. That's what I'm talking about. We need to go back to that. It's not about guns, it's about parenting. Does Hollywood support that process, or does it attempt to destroy that process? I'm just throwing that out there. Throwing that out there because we hear a lot about from Hollywood, right? Every time there's a mass shooting, about how we need to ban all black guns. We need to ban AR-15s, Glocks. We need to disarm all the guns. Maybe they should go back and start talking about the morals being taught in this nation. The morals they teach in their movies. The morals taught in video games. The morals taught in Grand Theft Auto, for instance. I don't even know if that's a video game anymore. Dated reference, probably a decade old as well. Gun-free death pay. Go watch that video if you want. I'm for concealed carry in schools, dudes. For sure. For sure. With the measures I mentioned already. And what's up with all these, I'm sorry, for lack of a better word, pussies that are doing their lions in D.C. and bawling and crying and going to the government and say, oh, we need to ban guns. All these students going into the Florida legislature, sitting on the steps and just bawling their eyes out and crying. It's like, you're irresponsible for the murder of these children. Hey, dudes, don't misunderstand me. It's tragedy. I've said this before. It's awful. We'll do anything we can to prevent this. We want our children to be safe. We want our schools to be safe. But to go to a government official and put the blame on them because they believe in the right to keep and bear arms is ludicrous. But what's up with this generation? Notice what they do. They don't look at themselves and say, well, how can I take personal responsibility for my own safety? Like you do. What can I do to take care of myself? That's not the generation we have now. Not after nearly a decade of Obama. Obama came across in his messages, I'm the government. I will take care of you. I will do everything you need. All you need to do is give me a lot of your money and give me your 110% support without question. And I'll take care of you. That's where a lot of these younger generation people are. They believe the government is the answer to everything. And so what's their first inclination? At least what we're being shown is to go to the government. Hey, government, you need to protect me. I can't do it for myself. What's next? Hey, government, you need to feed me. I can't feed myself. Hey, you need to give me a job. I can't find a job. That's where we are as a country. That's where we are. Oh, and by the way, I have no evidence of this, but it's my personal opinion. I don't think a lot of these things are genuine, organically organized events. I think if you were to dig deep in them, you would find that there is an organizer, maybe Soros, funding this, starting a fake social media campaign, rage against the gun laws. I bet that's what's happening. I'm to the point now, I don't trust hardly any social media platform. If I go to a Twitter account, I see this person has 1 million followers, I can pretty much assume 3/4 of them were bought. Maybe not that many. Quarter, half. Same with some YouTube accounts. What do I trust? How do I know those subs aren't purchased? How do I know the views aren't purchased? There's a lot of ways to make yourself seem bigger in this social media world. And this movement is no different. It may look like there are millions of kids feeling this way when in fact it might be a very small number. That being said, I do think there are a lot of people that support what is going on. It's just an aside. But we have a generation of pussies right now. They don't look and say, hey man, next time there's a shooter, I'm just going to, football player, hey, I'm just going to tackle the guy. If I die, I die, but I'm going to save lives. We don't have teachers stepping forward, rallying the call to be armed. There should be like teachers unions right now in Florida that says, hey, we need concealed carry right now. Right now. Why isn't that happening? Well, because, you know, that's not politically correct. That's not part of the progressive agenda. Okay, then you don't really want a solution. You want the disarmament of civilians in the United States. Just be honest. Don't act like you care about lives. That's made evident by who protects or what protects the President of the United States. What protects the President? Fully automatic firearms. Bulletproof vests. High firepower. Why? Because it works. Because if guns show up to take the President out, Secret Service answers in kind with firepower. That works. No time for debate. No time to find out what kind of childhood the shooter had. Hey man, why are you doing this? Why do you feel so bad? No time for that. He's spraying bullets at everybody. Secret Service would answer in kind, not with a law, not with a sign saying, please stop your shooting, but probably with a fully automatic submachine gun. SBR shotgun. Just like Reagan. What happened when Reagan got shot? Out come the Uzis. It's their job. It's a tool of the job. Why should you as a civilian be any different? If a lethal threat is presented to you and your family, whether it's rule of law or even more so without rule of law, which will be much more predominant, wouldn't you want the means to protect yourself and your family? Again, that's the dam, the Constitution. The forefathers knew this. You have a right to self-defense. You have a right to protect your property. You have a right to protect yourself. It's God-given. The means you use are fine. Hey, you shouldn't use a semi-automatic firearm to do so. It wasn't available back then in the Revolution. If they saw AR-15s, they never would have written the Second Amendment. Bull. They used the technology of the day, and if they'd had them back then, it would have been written, yeah, dude, whatever the military's using, they can use too. Says me. And a lot of scholars, a lot smarter than me, will say the same thing. Knowing the history of the Second Amendment, its foundations, what the forefathers intended. Yeah, it was the technology of the day. Civilians are to have it too. Oh, by the way, it really wasn't about self-defense. It was about keeping ultimate control of the government in civilian hands. That's what the Second Amendment is about. Try to explain that to a progressive. They won't listen to it. They'll go, la, 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 la. No, I'm not listening to that. You're a psycho. That's what we're going to say. Yeah, but, it's really, so the civilians, the people, the citizens of this country can overthrow the government if it ever became, tyrannical. Whoa, psycho. That's where we are after a decade of Obama. And so this generation of crybabies bawling their eyes out on television every night, which, by the way, is what? Propaganda, right? Emotion is propaganda. Because the average viewer is to watch this and go, oh my gosh, that poor girl, she's so sad. What's she sad about? Oh, guns. AR-15, what AR-15s? This is a voter in Kansas, for instance. Oh, she wants to do what? Ban them? Oh, well, if it makes her happier, let's do that. Propaganda. Key to propaganda is emotion. Well, one way or another. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, but to try to sway the viewer of that propaganda into a political purpose, a political action. What you're seeing nightly is propaganda. Trying to get a disarmament agenda rolling in America. Yeah, so these crybabies, by the way, it's funny that they come to the government, which before they were criticizing Trump for being a tyrant. And now they want Trump to take away everybody's guns. Kind of hypocritical. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but a lot of things on the left don't make a lot of sense. They don't think it through. They just go to wherever the emotion is, trying to achieve their political ends. But the thing which typifies this whole movement, this anti-self-defense movement, the universal gun registration, and subsequently the confiscation, is compulsion. That the government will compel you to do it. That you do not have a choice. That a law will be passed. If you don't do it, there will be stiff penalties that you will face. And we'll throw you in jail. We'll do worse. That is what these people are pushing. To them, I'm talking about these crybabies, these young people that I made reference to earlier. That's what they want. The compulsion via government is the answer. And if you're to say, hey man, what if a guy doesn't want to give up his guns? Well, I'm just talking. I mean, that's just theoretically. What would their answer be? Probably burn him at the stake, is what they'd say. They said that recently to NRA spokesperson Dana Loesch. She was giving a speech. She came out and they said, yeah, burn her. Same people I'm talking about, these leftists. Supposedly open-minded, kind, loving, sensitive leftists. They said, let's burn her. Burn her at the stake. She's the NRA. She deserves to be burnt. Destroy her. She had to have a personal protective detail to get out of there. Hypocrisy. So these people who supposedly espouse peace and love, they're not about peace and love at all. They're about whatever we can do to achieve that objective is approved. Speaking of Dana Loesch, I hope I'm saying your name right, Dana. I loved your speech. Oh my gosh, was it excellent. I put it on my channel page for a while. It's on Twitter today. I don't know how long I'll let it run. She is talking at CPAC. She's an NRA spokesperson. Good looking gal. Very well spoken. Passionate. You need to listen to what she says. She's awesome. And she has a rail session in that video. She does not hold back. About, hey, you media types in the back room, you think that NRA is the devil. Well, how come you're not covering all the murders in Chicago? How come you're only covering the white mothers crying down in Florida, but you're not covering the black mothers crying on the nightly gang violence in Chicago every week? You're not having any town hall meetings, CNN, over there in Chicago, but you're having them down in Florida. She calls out their hypocrisy, their inconsistencies, and she's awesome. Watch that video. I'll put a link below. It's only like 10.5 minutes of it. So excellent, though. I want to start wrapping it up. It is full length. Yes, I'm having a great time, though. And yes, it is a call to action. You written those letters yet, by the way? Dudes, after the letters are written, it might be time with what's going on to do rallies. That's right. Now, after Mandalay Bay, I saw some sparks talking about rallies and, hey, we need to do this. The time wasn't right. And I think some YouTubers were, you got to be careful of this. They were just trying to make a name for themselves by organizing a rally. They weren't really well known. They're like, I'm going to do a rally. And everyone says, well, who's doing this rally? Well, it's that guy over there. Oh, cool. I'm going to sub to him. That does go on. Okay. And again, timing is everything. The time wasn't right. And I'm not going to do that. Oh, and I'm not going to be part of a rally that at its core is anti-NRA. You will never see me there. So if I hear of anybody attending the rally that's like, hey, man, we need to weaken the NRA, I'm not going to be there. I won't speak at a rally. I won't. And I no apologies. I just won't. And getting back to my analogy, the dam. The dam's leaking. The NRA's done some things that I don't agree with over the years. And they've done some stupid things, for sure. But I'm not going to tear the dam down. I'm not going to say, hey, if some of these people, you'd ask them, say, well, if you could magically wave a wand and take away 3 million members to the NRA, would you? Some of them would say, yeah, I will. Maybe you feel that way. I disagree, dude. Totally. Why can't you belong in that organization, work to get it better, tighter, write a letter to the NRA, what you hate that they're doing. Make it be known that, hey, listen, this is what I expect you to do. Work to improve it. Plug the holes. And then join GOA, Gun Owners of America, like I did. That's what I do. Active in both. There's only 2 entities pushing back against all that. 2. You have 2 tiny little organizations in the big scheme of things. I'm not going to unplug one and then 5 million members in the NRA, more or less. That's a lot. That's clout. It's a reason, again, that the media talks about the NRA, because they're scared of them. They can swing elections. They have swung elections. They had a huge part in Trump getting elected. The NRA, not GOA. I love GOA. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I give them money, but they're just not that big. Now, if I could wave a magic wand and say, I want GOA to have 10 million members right now, I'd do it. No questions asked. Awesome. I would do it immediately. And I hope you join the GOA as well. I mean, I love their burst emails. I think they're much more on point with these issues that have been rapidly paced of late. They are. NRA, you need to get your head out of your butt and get moving and be militant, which, by the way, is your marching order. The time, and don't misunderstand me, I'm not saying militant in the regards of, being angry and enraged with everyone, but I'm saying don't be apologetic for being a gun owner. So I was in a restaurant the other day, and some elderly gentleman was ranting loudly about the NRA after the Florida shooting. And Mrs. Nutnfancy and I were sitting there eating, and we were pissed. Listen to this guy go off. He's talking, and everyone in the restaurant can hear him. I didn't put up with it. I walked right up to him after we're done eating. I said, listen, you need to shut your mouth. It's like, no one wants to hear your political opinions. You don't hear me over there ranting against Obama, do you? In mixed company in a public forum. And yet we have to listen to you talking about how you're all knowledgeable about school shootings, about you're anti-NRA, about how Trump is a tyrant. I frequent is in his face. And, he squared off with me. He's like, well, we can argue about this. I was like, dude, I'm not listening to this. I'm not going to spend time with you. I'm just letting you know you need to shut your mouth in a public place. No one wants to hear it. For whatever reason, leftists are extremely emboldened in today's society. They feel like they can rail against you, gun ownership, Christians, God, families, anything that is previously seen as being wholesome. All that's fair game to make fun of and to make fun of you. We don't do that. 8 years of Obama, I didn't like him as a president, but I'm not sitting there in a restaurant ranting at the top of my voice. Oh, King Obama's awful. This guy, I can't believe it. I never did that. I just shut up and colored as a citizen. I was like, oh, okay, I did my part. country will go on. The country's not ending. It's bad. But, you know, I'm not going to just curl up in the corner and suck my thumb and start, or worse yet, go out and start protesting in a violent fashion like a lot of the Antifa guys do. But apparently that's on the game plan for if you're a leftist. You can do all the above. Acid attacks, violent brick attacks, punching, kicking, throwing, worse. All that's approved. But again, in their way of thinking, they're justified. If you think I'm wrong, go to a pro-Trump rally and tell me what you experience. Look up on YouTube how it's gone down with like Laura Southern. What happened to her? Acid attacks, brick attacks. Why? Well, because you're pro-Trump. You're a fascist. You're a Nazi. That's what they're going to call you. Propaganda terms designed to elicit a response, anger, dehumanize your opponent. That's what they do. That's what's going on. Getting back to the fact this is not the same environment we found ourselves in after Sandy Hook. It was bad then. Now it's worse. Because the left feels emboldened after almost a decade of Obama. So if we do have a rally, and I'm getting to that again, expect it to be confrontational. I think it's going to be confrontational. It's not going to be just us. You're going to have a counter rally, people screaming at you, threatening you, masks on, all types of threats. It could get ugly. That's where we are. That's where we are. Getting back to the rallies. Is it the time to have them right now, Nutnfancy? Yes, now's the time. Remember what I led off with? In war, in baseball, and especially politics, timing is everything. Now's the time. Why? Because we are combating their momentum. They have a lot of momentum built up. A lot of propaganda being believed. We need to counter it with well-organized, well-attended, well-publicized rallies. Lawful, calm, peaceful, properly licensed, all the above. But rallies where we are passionate, we do not apologize for being gun owners, we have good speakers talking at these rallies, and we fortify gun owners of America. We add more to our ranks. We push back against this gun control, this onslaught of propaganda. We strengthen our politicians, which are being inundated with hate, rage, telling them they better pass these gun control measures, that they are responsible for these mass shootings. Again, propaganda. But that's what they're trying to throw against the wall now to see if it sticks. They're getting in these faces of President Trump, senators, reps. They're saying, you're responsible for Florida. Never mind, it was one individual that did it. Again, where's that personal responsibility? Do we even talk about that in the United States of America anymore? No. All those crybaby teenagers out on the steps, go interview them, say, hey, how about the guy that actually pulled the trigger? The gun didn't shoot itself. That guy did it. Aren't you faulting him? Or are you giving him a free pass? And you're just saying that's the NRA's fault. You're saying it's Trump's fault. Unbelievable. If you're asking, I'm saying yes, now's the time for rallies. Not organized, in my opinion, by a gun tuber, by a YouTuber. No, we need something bigger, something with a staff, has experience in these things. NRA would be a great one. NRA, you should organize rallies at all the state capitals. You should make it a counter rally, a counter protest of what's going on. Gun owners of America, you should do the same thing. And if they don't pick up the slack and do these rallies and carry the standard of freedom, then another Second Amendment organization needs to do it. Just like happened in 2013 after Sandy Hook. Those are the rallies we attended. That's the rallies I spoke at. That's what needs to happen. And again, this is a different environment than after Sandy Hook. Expect counter protests. Expect perhaps even violence against you as a gun owner. They're going to call you Nazis. They're going to call you racist. They're going to call you every name in the book. Because why? Because you want to protect your family with a gun. Because you're evil. You're part of the problem. You're one of those people that contributed to these mass killings. That's the propaganda. Bolstered by the media. The media has the same narrative. Any channel you want to turn to, this will be the narrative you hear. With very little pushback. The only pushback really that will count will be Grassroots and hopefully GOA NRA. What do I think is going to happen with all this? With these gun control measures coming down, other ones coming after it, what do I think is going to happen? You don't want the answer. Because I don't want to discourage you. What? Just tell us. Hey, man, I don't know. I mean, what do I know? But if you're asking me what's going to happen, they're going to pass. That's what I see happening. And I've always said it in my videos, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And with a decade of Obamanization, yeah, I'll use that word, it's changed the way Americans think. You know, in the 50s, 60s, if we had a problem as an American, we would look inward. We'd say, hey, what do I need to do to solve it? I have coyotes attacking my sheep. Okay, cool. I'm going to get a 30-30. Next coyote that comes in, I'm going to shoot him. No, I'm not for shooting coyotes at all. Just an example. But we would look to ourselves to solve our own problems. We were rugged individualists. We were self-contained, self-sufficient. Those days are gone. Now you have, 18-year-olds crying, sobbing on the steps of the state capitol, crying that all black guns are not being confiscated from you. That you're the problem. That's where we are in America. That's what's going on right now. So yeah, we need some pushback, and it might come in the form of rallies. So if you're a Second Amendment organization, don't go it alone. Be smart. Talk to the other organizations. Don't duplicate effort. This one's having a rally this Saturday. This one's having a rally that Saturday. That's what happened after Sandy Hook. And I had to tell those guys, guys, you need to get on the same page. You're on the same team. Talk to each other. Combine your resources. Be smart. Don't wear people out. Don't have multiple rallies. 1 month a rally, spread them out. You want momentum, timing. Some people get it, some people don't. No, I'm not organizing a rally, so don't tell me to organize one. I ain't doing it. I don't have the resource, I don't have the time. But if I go to a rally, it's going to be pro-GOA and pro-NRA. If I hear any anti-NRA stuff, you won't see me at that rally. I'm not taking away the biggest gun rights, human rights organization we have in this country and doing anything to weaken it. Hey, but it's imperfect. They're for this. Then write them. Every big organization I've ever seen in my life is imperfect, and it has a lot of flaws. And if you think otherwise, come to reality, dude. It's the way it is. Same with politicians. People are like, well, what if Trump signs off on this? Are you going to vote for him? I will vote for the candidate which slows down the erosion of my freedoms the most. So if he's going to slow it down the most, he'll have my vote. Whoever that is. A lot of people won't vote at all. That's why we got Obama. Well, I didn't have a perfect candidate and such. I hated Romney. I did too, but we had 4 more years of Obama because we didn't have him in there. Yeah, but he's this, he's that. Ancient history, I don't want to hear it. We're going to have some other imperfect candidates come up for vote. People live in a fantasy world. They want this candidate who's supposedly perfect, who will never cave to political pressure. Won't happen. And there's some entities online, they feel like they have this much power, that they can sway votes. They can influence millions of people, whether it's a YouTuber, whether it's a blog. I say now's the time to prove it. So with that massive influence that you have, you need to kill this legislation coming up. So use all your viewers, all the people who follow you, with me working together to stop what's coming, just like we did in Sandy Hook, by the way. We're working on the same team, but if you feel that way, I say, great, now's the time to prove it. If you think you have a better solution than the NRA, GOA process, political process, and I'm talking peaceful resistance here, now's the time to show. And by the way, it won't ever stop. So if we're victorious in this battle, we'll have probably 20, 30 more to fight within the next 5 years. It will never stop. They will never sleep. They are well funded. They have billions of dollars. Many organizations, millions and millions of people who support them. The disarmament agenda in the United States of America will never cease. Never. And they will look to exploit every tragedy to the maximum extent possible, to twist it and act like it's your fault, it's my fault for being gun owners, that we need to disarm. Oh wait, that still happens. Great. Well, we need to go farther, and who knows what those measures would entail. Russia still has problems with it. Totalitarian countries have problems with mass shootings, and yet guns are completely illegal there. How about the prison system? Murders are illegal there, and yet somehow they make weapons, shivs out of toothbrushes. Talked about that before. You can't stop weapons. You can't stop evil. They'll find a way. Are we trying to ban trucks, delivery trucks, after Nice, France? After Central Park? Where did that initiative go? A lot of people died from just a truck. We're going to ban knives, swimming pools, everything that's dangerous in this world? No, nothing fancy. We're going to start with guns. We'd be happy to get your guns, says the protectionist. So circling back to that intro, timing is everything. When I played Little League as a kid, I didn't want to swing too early as that ball was sent my way. I swing and then here comes the ball. Oops, not good. Didn't want to swing too late, right? Ball passes and then I swing. No, I want to swing just right. In battle, in wars, in politics, and in baseball, timing is everything. I think the time is right for all this stuff. For a gun control slapdown 2018. 1 decade after the original one here in TMP. 1 decade. And I bet you if you watched that original video that I filmed in Turkey while I was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force pilot, same issues. A lot of the same issues are still here. Again, this thematic. They're not changing that much. Although I think they have a lot more momentum. It's a lot more serious than it was back then. You guys know this. You probably feel it. Got to wrap it up. Time is long. Oh, by the way, I'm in Tactical Doodle's old room. So up on the wall, we have some World War II guns. Got an M1 Garand, Enfield, K98, M1 carbine. Right here, original Slave One. Painted for the boys years ago. 1/6 scale military figures. Awesome. T800 skull. I think I had a light at one time that came on, but I don't know if it's working now. Don't know where it is. Gundam right here, and then we've got a couple more Star Wars things, like a TIE Interceptor and a B-Wing sitting there on the bed. Some eye candy, different location. Lighting is awful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for thumbs up. Appreciate it. For sharing, for being Patreon. Love it. Get to work. That's all I can say, and prepare to be a political activist for basically ever. Thanks for watching. Nutnfancy.